Hey, did you guys watch the Mortal Kombat movie? I did, and I thought it was okay. Not anything too special, not really good, not really bad, just mildly entertaining, like a movie to watch on Sunday. It's still not better than the first one. I think the first movie ever made for Mortal Kombat was the best simply because the actors were amazing, in my opinion. And this one, the actors... I think it's just Kano that pretty much stole the entire show. Kano was the best. He was absolutely hilarious. He is really the only one that I felt like was representative of Kano in the video game, right? And that's the perspective I'm looking at it from someone who plays Mortal Kombat all the time. I'm comparing it to the video game. The other actors, Sonya was okay, I think, but I still, the first actors of the movie, the actors of the first movie were so much better, but Sonya I think was okay. Liu Kang I thought was completely awful. He's like a twig, he's so tiny. Liu Kang is a buffy Asian dude, right? He's buff. This guy was just cut. He has muscles, but he looks like he weighs 100 pounds. So I didn't like that. Kung Lao, I didn't really... He's okay. Just the actor, it's just I couldn't buy it. I have an idea of who Kung Lao is in my head and what he should look like, and just the actor himself, the face, I couldn't get into it. He wasn't bad, he wasn't good, but I just thought he was okay. Jax was good. Really great actor for Jax. But I feel like he didn't really get enough time on camera. He didn't do much. And when he first fights Sub-Zero, he gets obliterated immediately, which he doesn't have his strong arms yet. Okay, fine, but... it'd be cool to see a little bit more from Jax. And it's not until like the end of the movie where his arms finally grew, right? So we didn't really get to see much of him. When they initially start fighting, he gets his ass kicked because he has his tiny arms. I didn't like Cole Young. I mean, the actor himself is fine, but it's just like, why focus on a new character? The main character in Mortal Kombat is Liu Kang. It's always been Liu Kang, and it should always be about Liu Kang. So now instead of taking Liu Kang, we put Liu Kang to the side and we focus on Cole Young, a generic, boring story of a failed MMA fighter. And then when he finally gets his powers, it's like a shield, and like the orchid, you know, from Killer Instinct, the orchid stick thing, I don't even know what they're called. Boring. That's your power. You're stronger and you have an armor. Okay, it's a missed opportunity. Why not give him like more stuff? Make his special moves more like a fire or something again, just like Scorpion. Scorpion plays with fire and stuff, and he's the descendant, but he has no interesting powers. I thought the Sub-Zero Bihan was great, really amazing. The battle at the start was really interesting, and the actor's so good. Like you can see it in his face. He looks like an evil prick, which is amazing. And then when he becomes like Sub-Zero later on, he's cool. I don't know if you noticed, but he made these weird like growling sounds, which we're trying to make him like almost like an undead, which, okay, I mean, it's alright. I really didn't like his armor. It just looked like an armor that was too small, that didn't fit him. I prefer just the simple ninja design from Mortal Kombat Annihilation. You remember like Rain, and I think, was Ermac in there as well? They didn't have a lot of time on screen, but you see them in their costume. I like that costume, just keep it simple. That would have been nice, but they went with an armor thing. The face itself was fine, but it almost looked like it was, like the mask was a bit to the side, I thought. What I didn't like is that it didn't feel like much was on the line. Like, of course, it's the 10th, supposed to be the 10th tournament, and then Shang Tsung tries to prevent that 10th tournament from happening because of a prophecy, so he tries to cheat. But then there's no crowd. Like in Mortal Kombat 1, you know, they go to the tournament, there's a big crowd, it's a big deal. Here, the Shang Tsung shows up to the location where they train, and they fight in the sand pit, the same place where they were training before, which, by the way, when you're training, why would you cut yourself at stuff when you're actually training? You're not supposed to hurt yourself, and I thought it was so stupid. Like with Kung Lao, you're cutting up Cole Young, yet you're preparing to go fight against actual bad people. So I think Melina was okay. She was still, I think she played her role well. She looked good. The mouth design, really happy to see that it actually opened up and had full teeth at the end. It was really cool that she was able to teleport. It's just like in the game. Really cool. Natara looks absolutely amazing. The actor looks so great for Natara, but you just see her a couple times and then she gets killed by Kung Lao immediately. And you're like, she doesn't even get to fight. And then Kung Lao himself gets obliterated by Shang Tsung, gets his soul stolen even before a fight or anything, you're like, even before they fight, right? So that's just disappointing. The actor for Shang Tsung I thought was great. Obviously would never top the first Shang Tsung, but I still thought he was good, was great. Kabal was amazing. The voice acting of Kabal too, the voice acting, just the voice of Kabal sounded so good. I hear some people on Twitter asking for a movie with Kabal and Kano, and I think that would be excellent. A movie or like a series or something, that would be absolutely excellent. These two were some of the best part. Kano definitely the best part of this movie. Kabal was also amazing. His costume, his voice, everything was great. The fighting was good in general. Was really good actually. The choreography I thought was a little bit slow, a little bit too slow. Like when you see Sonya fight against Melina, they're just, you know, you see it's like, just go harder. make it real. But when people got killed, it was nice and bloody, which was nice. It sucks that Melina gets obliterated as soon as Sonya gets her powers. And in terms of Reiko, we don't see much of him, right? As soon as Jax gets his new arms, he gets killed in like 30 seconds or something. At the start of the movie, we have a reptilian. Why use a reptilian that has the same powers as Reptile, right? The acid and can be invisible, but not use Reptile instead? It would have been so cool to actually use Reptile in a costume, in a ninja costume or something. So another missed opportunity there. Thought it was kind of weird that Kano gets his face scratched and he barely mentions it. Like, alright, fuck it. Doesn't even complain about it, really. He did a little bit, like, to Sonya, but like in a jokey way. Anyways, I thought it was weird. But what I was preferred is just like they go to a tournament and they actually fight in a tournament. And we have the fight scenes. There were a lot of fight scenes, which was nice, but they were so short. Just give us long fight scenes. Like in Mortal Kombat, the first movie, even in Annihilation, we had some longer fight scenes that were really satisfying to watch, at least as a kid. So this one was just, an okay movie. It did a fine job. I think the actors, they didn't pick the right actors for most of it. Definitely not Raiden. That was probably the worst actor for Raiden. He's not even an old dude. He doesn't even have long hair. What? It's just like, okay. Like the Raiden in the first movie was the best, right? He was funny and everything and he looked like Raiden. Would have been nice to see other characters too. Would have been nice to see like the other Sub-Zero. But obviously they can't fit it in just one movie. And at the end, like Johnny Cage is my favorite character in the movies. Johnny Cage and Kano and all the other movies too. And here we didn't have Johnny Cage, unfortunately. But in the next one, if there is a next one, apparently, it ends with a cliffhanger where we're going to see Johnny Cage. They're recruiting him. And they have to do a good job with Johnny Cage. This is so important. Johnny Cage has to be a good actor and he has to be written well, and obviously they have the capacity to do that. We saw it with Kano. Kano was absolutely hilarious. I loved it. We saw no Katana, and it's very weird to see Melina without Katana. No Jade. I think that's it, guys. I think it was just a fine movie. Disappointing that the fight scenes happened where they trained. It's just like there's no varieties. We're always in the same place, almost. The end fight was amazing. It was really good. When Scorpion arrives, that's really cool. I didn't really understand why he arrived. It's probably, maybe I missed it. I don't know. I was half asleep by the time that was the scene, but someone can explain it to me. But anyways, the plot is not something you really focus on in these movies. You look at the costumes, the special effects, the fighting, and that was all fine. That was all great. So it's okay. I encourage you guys to actually pay for it, rent it. Don't torrent it unless you can't afford to pay for it. So if you can afford to pay for it, even though it's like $25 before tax. For me at least, to rent. Supporting it is the only way we're gonna keep the movies alive, right? And have more Mortal Kombat movies. So video game movies are difficult. This one was okay. Anyways, just my thoughts on the movies based on someone who makes YouTube videos about Mortal Kombat. Okay guys, that's it. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good one.